Yeah, I could give you some color on that too, because there's a doctor in my Vistage group. He's a cardiologist. He's also one of the team doctors for the Broncos.
Yep.
And he never thought he would do telehealth. And now he is. And he said he probably won't go back to running his office the way he used to.
This is going to be fun because we're going to have the conversation called "We Have Got to All Pivot to a New Reality" called germs.
Yeah.
This is exciting.
It's nice to have everybody here.
I promoted the Ludman.
What's that? Tom, do something with your hair. It's kind of, just run your fingers. It's just like, either run it so that it's all kind of up. That's a little better.
I'm a little self-conscious with 30 seconds to go.
Oh, well, look at your mirror. There you go.
I don't mind it.
You don't mind it? Good.
No,
All right.
We'll just say I drove the Vespa, and it's not about looking good. It's about being good. That's good.
All right. We're going live.
All right. Wave your hand when you're ready. And hello, everybody. It is Tom Chenault. It's the Network Marketing Leadership Show, and we are really, really excited today to be talking to you about some of my favorite subjects. Most of you know that I am a lunatic about personal development, and I am a lunatic about network marketing. I am a lunatic about Alcoholics Anonymous, and I have made a career of merging all three of those conversations into something called the Coffee Shop Interview. And I am going to tell you one thing right now. I haven't run across a guy like the guy we're interviewing in a long, long time, because he's been to the top of the network marketing mountain and had unbelievable success in it. Unbelievable success. And he's been unbelievably successful in also personal development. And that hasn't happened with most of my personal development friends, because they've been, they don't serve two masters so well. And Dan Gibbons is one of those guys that was able to do it and is still doing it. And I want him to come on today to talk to you about a revelation I had, which I couldn't believe came to me. I'd like to say it came in a dream, and it did. It actually came in a dream. No, it didn't. But it came to me where I realized that I've been training these skills forever with people, and telling them they got to go to this and they got to go to that. And then after they go to do all the skills and they get all the skills, then they got to go do all the personal development. And then I got to thinking about myself, which I do most of the time. And as I was thinking about myself, which I always do, I realized that I had done the personal development actually before the skills. And now I'm doing the skills and the personal development all the time together. And I want you to think about that a little bit, because it is the opening to everything. And something happened over this whole last 60, 70, 80, 90 days, however long it's been, called the pandemic. And it has given us all an opportunity to look inward more than ever before. Maybe all of us need to pivot. And last week I had little Michelle Polar on here. She's the happy girl, and she was awesome. But I all of a sudden decided this week, we've got to have Dan Gibbons on here, because most of us are in that place of rigorous self-inquiry and don't even know it. And I wanted to talk about that because it's so critically important. And we've had Michael Burnoff on here. We've had Robert White on here. We've had some real rock stars in the personal development space. Today, I am telling you, we are elevator up. We have got Dan Gibbons. Take it away, Dan Gibbons. How are you, buddy?
I am well, my friend. How are you, Tom? I appreciate you having me on the show.
It is completely my honor. And one of the reasons is because you are not afraid to forward look, pivot with the times, because we are all in a position of paralysis, whether we've got restaurants, whether we've got jobs in corporate America, whether we've got anything going on. Everything's changed. The workspace has changed. The workplace has changed. Everything's different. And we've got to be willing to adapt, not just regret that it isn't the way it was, right?
Right. Yeah, I do believe that this is going to be a benchmark in our life from here forward. This is when things changed. And I think language is important. When this first started, I even would catch myself saying, "Oh my gosh, I'm trapped at home," and blah 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 blah. And I had to even watch my language, because one of the things I often talk about is the most important person you will ever talk to is you. And how are you communicating with yourself? So I changed it to, I'm safely at home. I also, now I tell people, instead of saying stay home and stay safe, I now will say, be responsible, make smart choices, and stay healthy. I think that's an important thing. But yes, I've talked to everybody in our company, and I said, life is never going to be the same. We have got to pivot and learn how to do things differently. And, one of the things I'll be talking to you about is, our first ever PSI seminars online.
PSI seminars online. And I know that Michael Burnoff did one last week. And I know that I looked at this whole conversation with major disdain and suspicion, the same way I did it with my Alcoholics Anonymous meetings. For the last 20, 30 years, people have been saying, I go to AA online, and I scoffed at them. I said, there's no such thing as AA online. You got to come down to the meeting. You got to find a meeting in your own town. And I would literally, it was contempt prior to investigation. I was arrogant, I was using my ego, and I was wrong. So now, since this pandemic, for the last 60 days, I've been going to an AA meeting every morning online. And not only that, my friends from all over the world, instead of having to get scared, walk into their own AA meeting, petrified because they've got so many things going on, now they can go to the AA meeting with me. And it's the most beautiful thing on the planet. So I've got friends from literally all over this planet meet me at AA at 7:30 every morning Mountain Time. And I pay more attention to that AA meeting online. Yesterday, I was sobbing in front of about 45 people about something going on in my life because I could get so real and down to earth with them, and I knew them so well. So I have no doubt in my mind that you are going to absolutely knock the cover off the ball with this seminar. You're doing it. When is it? How do people actually go? What's it all about? What size seminars, and why is it so important?
Okay. Well, let's start off with what PSI Seminars is. PSI stands for Personal Success Institute. And what's really ironic, Tom, I've been, like you said, in times of great challenge, I believe that there's great reflection. And so a lot of people have been reflecting on their lives and reflecting about what's important. And for almost 50 years now, PSI Seminars has been bringing people together, bringing families together, creating community and connection. And now what's going on with COVID, it's the antithesis of what PSI Seminars is all about. And so PSI Seminars is a personal development seminar. I instead of calling it personal development, I like to call it awareness training, self-discovery, if you will, because the class is really about people exploring, examining, uncovering, and discovering how they live their life. And I have found over the last 30 years being around PSI seminars, until people, and I'm sure you have seen this often in Alcoholics Anonymous as well as your network marketing profession, until people make their own discoveries, it doesn't matter how many times you tell them something, recommend something to them, until they make their own discovery in regards to what's serving them and what's not serving them, I don't think that they're really going to change. And you and I have learned the hard way that we can't change people.
And here's what I think's going on with you right now. A lot of you are watching this right now, and you're listening to that little guy on your shoulder, who you've been listening all the way through this pandemic to. And that guy's saying, this guy Dan's full of bulla. All he's going to do is charge me a bunch of money for a seminar. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Personal development's this. Tom Chenault's an a-hole. All the stuff that's going on your shoulder, that guy is who we're talking about firing. because what I do is I not only do I listen to this guy a lot, too much, I also take him with me everywhere I go. And what I learn in personal development, sci seminars, a lot of other things, is not to listen to this guy. He's got an opinion, and I just say no. He's always chattering at me, but I'll guarantee you one thing right now, I don't listen to him anymore. And the second thing about that, Dan said something really, really important. I know how to lose weight. No question about it. I know how to stay sober. No question about it. I know how to become a better human being. No question about it. Will I take that step? Not until I get that gift of desperation to go figure it out for myself. So I don't pray for you that you find multi-level marketing. I don't pray for you that you find sobriety. I don't pray for you that you find a God of your understanding. I pray for you that you find that gift of desperation to figure it out for yourself. And Gibbons has that ticket for you. And not only that, he's given you a heck of a discount if you go to his first seminar, because obviously those are going to be the less populated ones because it's a test tube. And he's going to give you a hell of a discount sometime in this show. And I'm telling you, for my money, you're home anyway. Go jump in the foxhole with this guy because it's going to change your life. Right, Dan?
Absolutely. And something interesting, Tom, you're talking about, the voice on the shoulder. We always ask people in the seminar, by a show of hands, how many of you know that you talk to yourself? And sometimes, people won't raise their hand. And even the ones that don't raise their hand, I know they're sitting there thinking, do I talk to myself? I don't know if I talk to myself. So we all talk to ourselves. And so you're talking about that little voice on the shoulder. Here's the interesting thing that people will discover in the basic seminar is that most of the dialogue coming out from that person on your shoulder probably is around dialogue that happened to you from the time you were born until you were 10 years old.
Yep.
About 80% of our beliefs, what we believe about ourselves, other people in the world, 80% of our thoughts, 80% of our behaviors and habits, believe it or not, about 80% of them are in place by the time we're 10 years old. So a lot of times, here we could be adults, we could be 30, 40, 50 years old, and we still have that 8-year-old voice talking to us about what we can and can't do.
And the name of the game is don't listen to this guy. Yeah. I figured out a long time ago that I have a sentence that runs my life. It's called, you're a fraud, Tom. And when people figure it out, they're going to leave. So in my life, I've made so much money, you wouldn't believe it. But I spent it as fast as I could because I knew people were going to figure out I was a fraud. I've always had beautiful women in my life, but I always had a backup woman because I knew the woman I was with was going to always figure it out and leave me. So I had backups. And until I did this work a lot, did I finally understand that sentence. I mean, coming on this show with Dan Gibbons, that little guy tried to tell me that I wasn't worthy of listening to Dan Gibbons and providing good input here because that guy's always there telling me I'm a fraud. But finally, I can tell that guy to shut up. Is that wrong or is that right, Dan?
No, it's absolutely right. You and I got together 3 weeks ago, and we had a really great discussion about both of our lives, and we talked about because you and I have seen it in direct sales, people will become successful and then they'll blow it up, and when people do not feel good about themselves or do not believe in themselves, even if they make money, they'll figure out a way to blow it up. It's really hard to create success and sustain success when you don't feel good about you.
What's that link,
Yep.
Dan? What's that link? We're going to take a break.
Okay, the link is www.psibasicseminar.com. In the first online class we're ever going to do in the history of Psi is June 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Beautiful. All right, so we're going to come back right after this. We're on the Genesis Communication Network. Thank you, Ted Anderson, for letting us be on this network for all these years all over the world. You are a gentleman and a scholar. We're coming back right after this with the Network Marketing Leadership Show. And we're back, everybody. And now we've got little Adrian Chenault with us. And how are you, Adrian?
I am good. I'm here in a bunker in Texas. Good to see you guys.
Man alive, you look like you're in a bunker. You should have put up a fake background so you could look all snazzy. So how's it going, buddy?
I am great. Dan, I'm so excited for what you guys are doing with Psy and just forging ahead and showing people that it can be done and how it can be done. It's really exciting what you guys are up to.
Yeah, it's fun working with you, Adrian, and you're really doing some great things, and I am looking forward to learning more and more about your contact mapping, because for the last 30 years, people have always looked at me as a connector, as somebody that has a great memory about friends, family, dates, things like that, and been a real connector. And your contact mapping, I see, is going to enable me to even take it to another level.
Speaking of that, how are Blaine and Vincent?
Blaine is doing well. We had a little scare with Blaine. He was working on a project. He's installing security cameras. He's still in the guard in a guard unit out here in Colorado. However, when he's not on guard duty, he installs security cameras in schools, and they're busy now because schools are shut down. So they're doing a lot of jobs. And somebody on the job site a couple weeks ago had COVID, and so they had to shut down the job site. Everybody had to be tested, and it turned out okay. So I just had dinner with him the other night. And Vincent, he's doing well. My heart breaks for him. My office here at home, Tom, overlooks my driveway, and I see little Vincent walking out the other day. Well, he's not little anymore. I see Vincent walking out the other day with all of his uniforms over his shoulder. He was going to turn them in, and I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh, he never got to wear those uniforms. He never got to play one ball game this year for Cherry Creek High School.
Baseball, you guys. Kid's an absolute baseball fan. So
Yeah.
What you just saw right there was to get Dan Gibbons talking. All we had to do was ask him about the two most important things to him in his life, which is his children. We wound him up just like that, and he's off to the races. And that's what Adrian's a master at, right, Paco?
Try to be, man. It's just, being interested in what people care about, you end up drawing the most interesting things out of them, and you find ways to connect what you want to what they care about, and it just works so much better that way.
Yeah. So talk about contact mapping a little bit.
Yeah. So contact mapping is, and we should talk about this more on the next break, because I think that it really ties in. We've been talking to Dan about how this fits into the work that they're doing, but the reason I believe that Dan is seen as such a connector, and he is because of his ability to take the work that he has done in the world of personal development to get his junk and his head trash out of his own way so that he's able to really be present. He's able to serve somebody else without having all this agenda and all this sort of stuff that's coming up for him, because he's just not able to be present with people. And so what your work does, Dan, is it frees people up to now be able to go and contribute in a bigger way. And I think one of the biggest ways that they can contribute is through relationships. And so contact mapping takes that and allows you to have this place to keep track of all that stuff that's easy and simple for you to use, so that you never lose track of a relationship. It's really simple and easy to use, and you can go check it out at contactmapping.com.
Thank you, Adrian. And we're back. It's Tom Chenault. It's the Network Marketing Leadership Show. I hope you are having an unbelievable day. All you people that are absolutely stuck in your head, frozen, paralyzed, wondering what you're going to do, figuring out how to reboot. I tell you, you are not alone. Half the country is in that spot, and half the country is trying to figure out what to do about it. And I think Dan Gibbons, with this online course that he's going to do over the next couple of weeks, is going to change your life. And I'm firmly behind it. He is an extraordinary trainer. He's been extremely successful in the network marketing space as well as the personal development space. And this is a guy you can learn from. This is a guy that you can believe in. This is a guy you can trust. This is a guy that's got a tribe that you're going to feel at home in. And that's why I love him. And Dan, just continue on and talk about what you're going to do here over the course of a couple of days for these people, because I think it's absolutely magical.
Okay. And I'm going to take a step back to something you said in the first segment, Tom.
Yeah.
Remember you were talking about how you were working so hard on network marketing skills, you know, and you were really driving people to the skills. And then you realize, oh my gosh, you know, got to do the personal development work first. And you're not the first one, believe it or not, to discover that. You know Bob Proctor,
Of course.
and you know Bob taught a class for many years called The Science of Getting Rich, and I was fortunate to have Bob as a mentor when I opened up the Sci office in Denver in 1996. He helped me immensely, and what Bob used to say is, I wish I could put all my people through your class first, so that they could work on the personal development side, so that when they came to the Science of Getting Rich, they would actually hear what I'm teaching them. And it's the same thing in network marketing. You could be doing the best skill set training in the world by the masters. However, it's all going to get filtered through that person's belief level about themselves, or perhaps they've had a bad experience in network marketing, and that's all their internal dialogue is about, and it gets filtered down. And so it could be amazing training, and I know you send people to amazing training. You know, I know you send a lot of people to Eric Worre's training, and there's great training out there, but it's always that training is going to get filtered down through their belief level about themselves and through their belief level about the network marketing profession. So I wanted to say that first. And this kind of a funny story that's apropos here. Back when I had my success in network marketing and built a very successful company and was a top income earner at this particular company, I actually left Sci for a little bit, you know, to put 100% into my network marketing business, because it was just growing so fast. And I used to have people in my organization that wanted to work with me. And I would say, I'm not going to work with you unless you go take the Sci Basic seminar. And then they would take it, and they would, when they were at the class, they would find out from the instructor or somebody, they would tell them, oh, Dan Gibbons told you about the class? Yeah, he used to teach this class. And they'd come back and say to me, well, the instructor told me you used to teach this class. Why didn't you just teach me this stuff? And I said, because it would take me 2 or 3 years to teach you what you just learned in 3 days. And it would take me 2 or 3 years, and I wouldn't do it near as effectively as you just learned in the 3 days. And, you know, for the skeptics out there that think like, you know, I know it all. I've been there, done that. And I had to deal with that with you a little bit, Tom, when you did the basic seminar. You were like,
True story. I didn't think you were going to mention it, but 100% right.
Yeah, I've done all this stuff. You know, I don't need that. You know, and then, you know, I always tell people, when you come to the basic seminar, I don't know what you're going to gain, you know, because I'd have to be a mind reader, or I'd have to know you a whole lot better. I don't know what you're going to gain, but I do know this. You will get some things out of the class that are not even on your radar screen right now. No. Not even on your radar screen. And so we, for the skeptics out there, we are so positive that you will create incredible results and incredible transformation as a result of going to the class, that we have a money-back guarantee. Money-back guarantee. We've been doing that for 48 years. Last year in 2019 in Denver, I had 527 people attend the basic seminar, and I gave back three people their money back out of 527. And I would happily give you your money back if you tell me you didn't get any value, because I would rather give you your money back if you feel you didn't get value than us keep your money and you be unhappy about it. And so we are
So you will
certain.
refund their money and their misery.
That's right. That's right.
That's good.
And they still get to walk out, whether they admit it or not. They still get to walk out with some pretty cool concepts in their head.
We got to take a break. I'm sorry. I just I talked through the break as usual. We're coming back right after this on the Network Marketing Leadership Show with Tom Chenault and Dan Gibbons. We're back. Hello, Adrian.
I'm back. Hello.
Hello, Kirsten Weinecker. I love you. Sharon Watkins, Steve Bastrom, TJ Woodward. There's a lot of people watching this show. And I'm telling you, it's really, really good to see these people. Kirsten's a little burn-off girl too. And I'll tell you, I just love people that have done personal development. You can spot them 50 miles away. I love people that have done the work of trying to figure out what's going on the inside to end up becoming better people on the outside. So
yeah,
what's going on, Adrian? Do you know Henry Weinecker? Do you know her brother? You met him yet? The guy with that spiked hair goes crazy.
Oh, yeah.
He's a great guy. Unbelievable. Okay, take it away, Adrian.
All right, sounds good. So Dan, talk a little bit about, because I think there's such a direct connection between your ability to cultivate healthy relationships and having done some of this work to get out of your own way. So talk about how the work of Sai ultimately connects into the work of building relationships and the work of contact mapping in your mind.
Well, I think it's very difficult to create really close, intimate, loving relationships if you don't feel good about you. If you don't, one of the biggest things people take away from our class is falling in love with themselves, or even learning to love themselves. It's kind of like your dad talked about. He was always on guard because he thought people would realize that he was a phony or whatever. And so when you I had a similar situation. I had a very troubled childhood, and so did some pretty bad things when I was a young man. And I was always on the lookout for that. I always had an internal dialogue that I'm a bad person. And when I took the seminar, I realized that I was a good person who did some bad things. There's a big distinction there between being a bad person, that did some bad things, and being a good person that did some bad things, being a good person that made some mistakes. And hey, it was, that's the way I grew up. That's the way life was. And it wasn't until I made my own discoveries that the reason I was such an angry young man that hurt people is because I was hurting. And one of the biggest things I realized in the last 30 years is that hurt people hurt people. When people are hurting, they hurt other people. They typically lash out or strike out, and oftentimes they will strike out preemptively because they don't want to be hurt first. They'll strike out preemptively. And so when you really feel good about yourself and you're comfortable in your own skin, you could even let a lot of things go that used to bother you in the past. I mean, I used to, the old days, I had to win every argument. I had to be right at all costs. And now it's like, who cares? Especially if it's an argument about something that's insignificant in the scheme of things, but I would want to win every argument, every point. And I guarantee you, in the old days, I could take the hill, but I certainly scorched the countryside along the way.
Amen.
Yeah, that's really well said.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we do, and we had a really interesting conversation about this the other day with some of our community in contact mapping, is that people want, we have this thing called the coffee shop interview. And if you haven't seen the coffee shop interview before, you need to go and check it out at contactmapping.com/CSI. It's a free download. And what it really is it's a guide about how to have a great conversation. And what we found is that there's a lot of people who until they can get out of their own way and show up as their authentic selves, they're struggling to have a conversation that's really basic, but it's really authentic. And so if you can't, you've got to kind of work those two things together. And that's why I'm so excited about the partnership that we're putting together, because I think there's some really cool things that we're stronger together. So go to contactmapping.com/CSI, grab that for free, and you're going to see what I'm talking about and how these two things connect together. And I think we got to go back to the radio.
Okay, very good. And we're back. It's the Network Marketing Leadership Show. We've got Dan Gibbons with us, sponsored by contactmapping.com. We've got to have, Dan's, how much does this course cost? Somebody asked me that during the break. And are you giving a Tom Chenault Network Marketing Leadership Show special discount, Dan?
Well, yes, we are. Absolutely. And so if people were to go to the SCI seminar website, they will see that the seminar is $795. And as a appreciation, for you having me on, Tom, and I know what a big supporter you are, SCI, we have a coupon code. When you go to register, when you go to check out, it asks for a coupon code. If people were to put in DEN, like the first three letters of Denver, they put in DEN, all capital letters, DEN, 86, then they would get $200 off. And the tuition for the class would be $595. And so to put that in perspective, I took the basic in 1988 in Orange County, California, and I paid $495 32 years ago when I took the class. So,
and how long is the course?
The class, this online one, the online class is going to be, again, June 5th, 6th, 7th, a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it's from 3 days, and it's from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. When you take our public class is the same days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. However, it's 10 to 8, 10 to 8, 10 to 8. And you might ask yourself, well, if it's 9 to 5, what are they taking out? Nothing really, because we don't have to do as long a lunch, and there's some other things that are streamlined online. And so from 9 to 5, you will get the whole class, 9 to 5, 9 to 5, 9 to 5 on the 3-day online class. The next public class we have coming up in Denver is June 26, 27, 28. But I know, Tom, you have listeners all over the country. If you just go to that www.sibasicseminar.com, there's a menu you can pull down and look at all the cities. Because I know we have a class coming up in Dallas, Texas. We have a class coming up in Dallas on June 19th, 2021. And then there's a class in Phoenix on May 29th. And people could use that code to attend a public class or to attend the online class.
So we've got there's a woman named Kathy Rickley, who is a great woman, dear friend of mine, and a graduate of SCI. Is there any kind of discount for grads?
Well, grads could re-audit, or I'd have her get a hold of me. Yeah. I gotta find out when and where she took the basic. She may be able to, on the online class, she may be able to participate as a staff member, because we are still going to use staff. I'm not sure yet, Tom. So I got to be careful about what I say here. I don't know if we're going to be able to do the re-audit privilege with the online class right now. However, when we have our public classes, anybody that's a graduate of the class could come back and re-audit or retake any part or the whole class over again as many times as they like. That is in place for the public classes. We got to take a look at and see how we're going to handle re-audits on the online class. So,
it's a whole new world, man. We don't know what we're doing. We're just trying to make this thing dance. And the whole goal is to make sure it's the greatest experience of all time for everybody that does it, right?
Yeah. Because right now, at least on the first one, we don't want to deal with that headache right now. Is what I'm just going to be real honest. We got enough, we got enough challenges that we got to figure out, and we don't want to run into any glitches or any problems with re-audits, when we don't need to. So I believe on this first class, we're not going to do any re-audits. However, again, she could staff if she wanted to. because we will be doing some volunteer staff. But you're right, Tom, it's all new territory. And Adrian, your son Adrian, with contact mapping has been really helping us deliver the online content and take care of a lot of the IT production side of it. And he's been amazing.
And one thing, you guys, Adrian's partner, Rick Manelius, got his undergraduate and his PhD from MIT. So Adrian and Rick are really, really working alongside Dan, trying to facilitate this thing because we think it's important work. We've seen what's happened in the network marketing space. I mean, I don't even, this whole pandemic conversation, as far as effectiveness for Tom Chenault, in the course of a 24-hour day, I will tell you, I am at least twice as effective not being out in the world as I was out in the world. That made no sense. I mean, what I'm trying to tell you is I'm in love with the level of intensity and communication that I've got with my compadres online now. It's all over the world. I can talk to them. I have no excuse. I'm there with them on Zoom. I'm there in all these Facebook groups, these meetup groups on Google. I mean, it is crazy what's happening. And every one of you can benefit from this if you'll just really take the bull by the horns and hit that website and say, you know what, this is time for the reinvention of me. And here's my chance. I can do it at a discount with Dan Gibbons and Sci Seminars. And I strongly recommend you give it a shot because I think it's going to change your life. And that Kathy Rickley, I was just thinking about that flitted through my brain. Just by virtue of the fact that she just asked that, she wants to go do it again the whole 27 hours because she got such value the first time. She's asking about whether or not that's possible for her to do it because she got that much out of it. You'll get that much out of it. So suspend your disbelief, your cynicism, your resignation, your despair, and say, you know what, I think I'm going to contact Dan Gibbons and take a look at this thing because it might just be worth my time. So I'm excited about that, Dan.
Yeah, that's, and I always tell people, Tom, that the re-audit privilege that we have, the ability to retake the class over and over and over again, that is extraordinary. And it's amazing how many people don't take advantage of it. During the class, you know this, Tom, because you attended, over a 30-hour period, we go through 34 different lectures and exercises. And it's not an instructor just lecturing to you. You're actually doing stuff. You're doing stuff. And if you're wondering whether or not this will work online, let me put it to you this way. My son, Vincent, works out almost every day, Tom, with Nick Capandi online, right? Yeah. And Vincent doesn't turn on the computer and look at and watch Nick working out. Vincent is actually working out with Nick, right? Yeah. And my wife every morning gets up and does yoga online now. My wife is not sitting there looking at the computer and watching everybody do yoga. She's actually doing the yoga. And so when you take the basic online, you're not going to be sitting there looking at a computer. You're actually going to be doing the basic. You're going to be engaged in the exercises. So the one point I was going to make, Tom, about 34 different lectures and exercises, every time after our public class is over, we do a graduation guest event ceremony, right? Where people bring guests to introduce them to the class. And I will ask the new participants who just finished the class on Sunday, I will ask them on Wednesday night, how many of you realize that you went through 34 different lectures and exercises over the weekend? And a lot of them are shocked that there was that many. And then I will say to them, how many of you right now could name 10 of those exercises? And almost nobody puts their hands up. And this is 3 days out of the seminar. And so I always say to people, if you're unable to even name the exercises, is there any way that you actually learned them all? No. Nobody, when they come into the seminar the first time, ever gets it all or anywhere close to it. Because everybody comes in, I don't care who you are, including you, Tom, including me when I went in 1988. Everybody comes into the class with a certain level of skepticism, uncertainty, doubt, maybe even resistance. And when you are skeptical or resistant, not everything gets in the first time. when you come back the next time, you'll hear it in a whole new way because you're going to be relaxed and you're going to be in true choice about being there, and you're going to be 100% open. I've had so many people tell me when they re-audited the class that they got so much more out of it because they were much more relaxed and they were there because they wanted to be there. You know, they weren't, you know, I want to say under duress. They're all there because they want to be there. But it's funny, people pay to take the class and then they get resistant about going to the class. It's kind of funny. You probably see that in network marketing.
I talk all the time about network marketing, and the reason I do it, you know, it's because it's Alcoholics Anonymous with a compensation plan tied to it, or it's personal development with a compensation plan tied to it. And if you guys go to contactmapping.com/CSI, there's a free book there, and it's called the Coffee Shop Interview Book. And something big is about to happen to that book that is going to blow your mind real soon. You're going to be just shocked at a development that just happened to us. But inside of that book is the chance for you to actually learn the merger that I did in my life between personal development, between Alcoholics Anonymous and network marketing. And I couldn't have done it without the conversations that I learned from people like Dan Gibbons, people like Robert White, people like Michael Burnoff, people like Lynette LaRue or Ollie O'Connor. Those people changed my life because they taught me to actually listen to people, actually empathize with them, actually be vulnerable and authentic enough that I can actually hear their story from a place that I'm not waiting to speak next. All that came from this world of personal development. Everything I've done in my life is as a result of what these people are teaching us. And I would say to you, listen strongly to Dan Gibbons because he knows what he's talking about. And you can prove it up by your success in network marketing, right, Dan?
Oh, absolutely. And let's not forget another old friend of yours, Tom, who passed way too soon. But remember our good friend, Brian Clemmer.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about him.
Yeah, and Brian was a big supporter of the network marketing profession and a mentor to me. When I first came to work for Sci, Brian was the director of training, and then he went on to become very successful himself. And you talk about network marketing and how important it is to you in your life. People often ask me, you know, Dan, why are you still with Sci, and why are you still there 32 years later or whatever? And it is because this work, Sci seminars, what I do with people gives my life meaning and gives my life purpose.
That's exactly right. We got to take a break. Okay. We're going to come back right after this. We're on the Genesis Communication Network. We got Dan Gibbons with us. Go to the website, register for this during the break. We're coming back right after this. Hello, Adrian. Armand, my man Armand is on here from Russia. He got married. He just had a baby, and he's in Slovenia or something like that. I don't even know what country he's in. Put that in the comments, will you please? Because I know I insulted you right then by not knowing what country you're really from. Estonia, something like that. This guy is a huge earner all the way over there, and he's on here, and he just had a little baby. I love the guy with all my heart. Back to you, Adrian.
Very cool. Yeah, Armand's awesome. That's awesome. So one of the things I loved hearing what you guys were talking about during the last segment, and this idea that all of this transforming our lives, whether that's from the inside out or whether it is when we're trying to actually go out and contribute more in the world, it's not a one-off, right? You have to have these points of transformation. You have to create these breakthroughs for yourself, but it's an ongoing process. And so the reason why people have to come back to it and continue to do the work after the seminar and maybe even go re-audit it is because the work isn't done the moment you don't get the work done in a weekend and that's it. And the same thing comes up over and over again for us with contact mapping. And one of the things that has been really cool for us and that we are getting ready to double down in a huge way is that really what we're doing is we're going on a journey together to transform our lives together as a team and to build a new set of habits that allows us to be a different human being in the world, to contribute more, to have better relationships, to be a connector, to do all these things. And so I want to invite you. We actually have a group that is free to be a part of. It's on Facebook. It's called the Contact Mapping Community Group. Pamela can throw a link to that in the comments. But if you just search Contact Mapping Community Group on Facebook, you'll see it there. And we're starting to do all these cool live trainings and live meetings and masterminds where we come together and we figure out how to grow and how to get unblocked and how to be accountable to each other. And it's been pretty cool what's been happening, hasn't it, Dad?
Yeah, and you guys, Adrian's going to start coaching this, like seriously coaching this, because what we finally figured out is it's the most important part. And it wasn't a part, it's the most important part. And he and Rick, this kid from MIT, have realized from so many different levels that the personal development component of contact mapping, the depth of the contact mapping complete concept is so much even bigger than the app, which we have spent 2 years developing. It's unbelievable. So this thing's getting ready to change and go into hyperdrive, and we want you to be a part of it because big stuff, I mean, incredibly big stuff is about to happen to you. And we want you to be a part of it, like at a ground level. And if you do that, you're going to thank us at a level you wouldn't believe. You're going to thank us just exactly like you would be thanking us if you had gone to SCI seminars, which we want you to do too. Right, Age?
Yep.
That's 100% right. And a little word to the wise is that if you have been sitting on the fence thinking about getting started with this thing called contact mapping and haven't gotten around to it quite yet, I would say that in the next few days would be a really smart time for you to do that. And you'll understand very soon what I mean, but it's the value we're bringing to the table is going through the roof, and those who are early action takers will benefit the most. So I'll just
greatly rewarded, and you haven't got much time, but we can't tell you any more than that. We're coming back right after this. All right, we're back. It's the Network Marketing Leadership Show. We've got Dan Gibbons with us, sponsored by contactmapping.com. I need to know the name of the link again. People are blowing me up on text asking me because I've only said it a couple of times, Dan. So you've got to say it succinctly. You've got to say it slowly. You've got to talk about the coupon code and let these people go look at what you're up to, because this is important stuff. Take it away.
You got it. www.p as in Paul, S as in Sam, I as in Ida, PSI seminar, or excuse me, PSI basic seminar.com. PSI basic seminar.com. Once you get there, you could find the class you want to register for. The online class is June 5th, 6th, 7th. And I'll tell you what, folks, it's going to be pretty historic. There is only going to be one first online class in the history of SCI, and you're talking about almost a 50-year history. And to be part of the first ever online SCI Basic Seminar is going to be pretty cool. Then once you find the class that you want to register for, then at checkout it'll ask if you have a coupon code, and you use the coupon code DEN, all capital letters, DEN, and the number 86 all together. And then you will see the price point drop by $200. Compliments of Tom Chenault, Network Marketing Leadership Show. And Tom was beating me up about this, like, hey, you know I love personal development. I want you on the show because I love personal development. What are you going to give my people?
You got to give them a deal. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And so, this is it's not an affiliate program. I'm not getting a nickel out of it.
No.
All I'm getting is the satisfaction that you're going to get your life. And that's a whole lot more important to me than the nickel. And if you put the hours together, he said 27 to 30 hours, what this course is, and you divide $600 by that, it's $20 an hour, and you get your life. And so please, whatever you do, go take a hard look and see if you can see yourself getting your life. And I just, and I'm telling you, once you get a little dose of this, you'll never stop. And every time I hear of a course, and the money that I spend every year on personal development with my unbelievable wife, and I want to talk about that just 1 second. People all go, oh, I want a relationship like yours, Tom. I want a life like yours, Tom. How did you get a wife like that? And I just go, well, you could have a wife like Denise, but she would eat you alive in 5 minutes unless you've done a tremendous amount of work on yourself. Because Denise didn't sign up for fixing Tom Chenault. I had to have my side of the road really, really cleaned up, or I wouldn't have even been able to have a cup of coffee with her. And all this work is what got me there from here. And I am telling you, it will happen to you on every area of your life, your finances, your relationships, your spirituality, everything that you want is inside of the front half of the equation. And that's why I'm so adamant about it for all of you. That's why I'm so adamant about it with contactmapping.com, because we've got the missing link for you and we want to prove it to you. Right, Dan?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you're so right, Tommy. You know, I know Denise, and she is one powerful, dynamic lady. And, you know, you're right. You wouldn't have attracted that relationship with Denise if you weren't right with you, or you weren't good with you. I've seen so many people take the Side Basic seminar that have been struggling in relationships and then get a hold of me and say, oh my gosh, I'm marrying the woman of my dreams. I'm marrying the guy in my dreams, because they got right with themselves. You know, they fell in love with themselves. And it's really hard to love somebody else when you don't even love yourself. Another thing that I've seen, Tom, is I've seen people come into the Side Basic seminar with horrible divorces, you know, just War of the Roses divorces, you know, just killing each other and, you know, damaging the children and everything. And I've seen people come to the class and realize this is insane. And I've seen people come to the class and put the relationship, the marriage, they were still divorced, that they had spectacular divorces. And why not? Because you're going to be associated with each other for as long as the kids are alive, not until they're 18 years old, for as long as they're alive. You know, your children are going to get married, they're going to have kids and everything. And so why not have the best relationship that you could have? And so I've seen things like that. I've seen people that, you know, weren't even talking to each other. And, you know, one of them took the basic seminar and made a decision that it's not going to be like this, and turned it around. And I've seen people create spectacular divorces.
Okay, so here's what you're doing. Dan, I love you for coming on. Basic Seminar, not plural.com. Go there, get the coupon. If you don't understand the coupon, call me on the phone. We are going to hook you up. But I am telling you, don't pass go. Don't collect $200. Do this. This guy is the real deal. And we are committed that you have a better life. And network marketing is a byproduct of unbelievable personal development. Sobriety, I mean, the same thing. A deep dive into who you really are. You know, the alcohol in my life was only a symptom. And I hated hearing that. And the guy that told me that, I wanted to punch him in the face. But he was right. There was so much that I had to deal with that I could have never gotten to without personal development like Psy and without Alcoholics Anonymous. And what that did was that gave me a sword instead of a toothpick when it came to network marketing. And that's what I want for all of you. Next week, the DWSA, Direct Women's Selling Association, has a leader there named Nikki Kiahohu, and that's her name. It's the hardest name in the world to say. I probably butchered it, but she is an absolute beast. She lives in Hawaii. She has transformed the world. She's one of the most driven, great women you're ever going to meet in your life. She'll be on our show next week with us. You got to stick around. Contactmapping.com, SciSeminarBasic.com. Go do that. Thank you all for listening. We love you. See you next week. How about that? Out, you little amateurs. Woo! Nail on the head, city. Unbelievable, Danny.
Great job, Dan.
You, I love you, and thank you so much. One thing I forgot, I wanted to mention Scott Fardulis' marriage too, because he and Juliet, I'll never forget the first time I met you, because I wanted no part of you, because you were making so much money and I was jealous. And the second thing, you were so transformed and I was jealous. So I walked into a room with number 80 from the Denver Broncos, Mark Jackson. Yeah. And I stood in the back of the room with my arms crossed, interviewing you with my eyes, going, how can that guy be making that kind of money when I am all of it in a bag of chips? Little did I know that it had nothing to do with anything that you were on the outside. It had everything to do with who you were on the inside and all the personal development you've done. And then Scott Fardulis, who's a great friend of mine, is the one that said, yeah, Tom, I need to take you by the hand and walk you down to Denver and show you this Psi seminar. He took me there, and the rest is history. And I just wanted to give him a shout out, because without him really believing in me and convincing me to come and see you, I'd have never done it. And it was one of the great times of my life, Dan, and I wanted to thank you for that.
No problem. No, it's great. And yeah, Scott is wonderful. We've done some great things together. Scott and Juliet, geez Louise, they're like they're like the little figurines you see on top of a wedding cake. They look like they just fell off the top of a wedding cake or something. They're just such a great couple. And what I really admire and respect about Juliet and Scott is what a fabulous job they did of raising 3 great kids. I mean,
yeah, they did their job. And you look at, and a shout out to all the other guys. I mean, whether it's Robert White or whether it's Michael Burnoff or any one of these guys, they've given their lives to transforming people. Mm-hmm. And I want you to think about that a little bit. What have you given your life to? And when you look at a guy like Dan Gibbons, who gave up a lot of money, $1 million a year, I think that's about what you made, to go back into the game, because you realize that wasn't where your passion was, it's where your legacy was inside of Psi. And just to see you go back to that is so inspiring to me, because I feel a lot the same way about contact mapping. It turns out that I'm passionate about Alcoholics Anonymous and all that jazz. I love network marketing and what it's done for me, and it's kind of like my job, but my legacy is contact mapping, because I know I can touch the entire planet with it. And I see myself parallel to you with that kind of focus, and it's a beautiful thing, Dan, and I want to thank you.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited about the future ahead, and I'm excited to be working with you, Adrian, and what a circuitous route we took to get back together, Tom. But
oh my gosh,
but it's always a lot of fun. So no, I am proud to help make this part of your legacy, and I'll do everything I can to make it a big success for you.
So please go register for Psi, so I don't look like an idiot with him. I told him I had all kinds of contacts and influence. I love you guys. We'll see you all.
Love you, buddy.
Bye, everybody. Love you. Thank you. Was that
went well. Great show.